Hello friends, Dr. Nels here, coming to you this week with an episode on how it's not necessarily easier, but it is easier to lead when you're doing most things right. And I guess the way I'd reverse this is I would ask you, can you think of a leader that you worked for that you didn't respect, or they didn't work very hard, or they didn't live by the values they talked about? Did you follow them? Can you think of someone you've worked for, been under, or a coach that's coached you that didn't always practice what they preached? And if you did, I'm guessing you were like me, you were like, they don't work very hard, or they don't practice what they preach, or the core values that are on the wall, nobody really lives by them. We don't really follow that sort of leadership. But we do follow leaders that practice what they preach. We follow leaders that work just as hard as anyone in the organization. We follow leaders that aren't afraid to do anything in the organization. We follow leaders that are competitive, that want to win and want to do big, huge, hairy, audacious things. We follow leaders that want to do things other than just make money. We follow leaders that want to change lives, right? And so if you're watching this and you're a leader, are you doing those things? I'm not perfect. I think the title we said is, it's easier to follow leaders that are doing most things right. You notice I didn't say everything right. No one's perfect. And if you're watching this and you're on a team and maybe you're not leading a team, we want you to think about this down the road for yourself, because the way people get into leadership positions is typically they're really good at this level. They're the best person or one of the best people on the team at this level, and something happens to the leadership above them and someone gets selected to come up to this level. And it's typically some of the best people at this level. So you're likely that person that you will be a leader someday. And understand that people will follow you more easily when you're doing most things right. If you're listening, if you're being humble, if you're being vulnerably honest, if you're saying, I'm sorry when you screwed something up, if you're saying, I didn't get that right when you didn't get it right, if you're working as hard as everyone else, if you're competitive, if you want to help change people's lives rather than simply making money, or leading from a pedestal with way too much arrogance and power and control freak ways. Think about how you're leading. Think about those around you. If you're not leading today on a team, so to speak, and you're doing a lot of things right, you will rise in the ranks. And think about what you need to be doing so leadership is a little more easy when you're doing most things right. We want you to be honest, vulnerably honest, admit your mistakes, say I'm sorry when you need to, but yet lead with some candor and some brutal honesty when you need to. Help grow people, which requires some candor and some brutal honesty. And keep leading from the front, not the rear. It's easier for those people to follow you when you're leading from the front and not the rear, and you're doing most everything right. Most people don't require you to be perfect. Good people understand you're going to make mistakes, own up to them, keep leading from the front, and it will be much more easy for those people to follow you. Hope you enjoyed that today. Thanks for being here. Click subscribe here if you want more of this content. Leave us your comments or questions below. We'll help out however we can. Thanks. Cheers, folks.